Welcome to another episode of Life in DR podcast show. I'm your host, Saint, and we're on the road, baby. We're in Punta Cana, and we have a special guest today. I'm bringing in Mr. 98%, Mark. Mark is gonna hang out with us today, and as always, man, welcome, Mark. Cheers. Pick a
Cheers.
chink.
Pikachu.
So, Mark, man, living in DR, look at this beautiful space that we in. So, my first thing is number one is why Paradise? Why DR? What made you move DR? Not Bahamas, not any other island around the Atlantic.
So I'm a software guy, computers my whole life. My dad was in the Army. We traveled all around the world, grew up in Japan, Okinawa, a bunch of different countries, traveling every 4 years, going somewhere. Then I joined the Air Force and spent 13 years in the Air Force. I went to Desert Storm, did all that kind of stuff, traveled around the world with the Air Force.
Thank you for your service.
And for me, it was just trying to find my resting place, the place that I wanted to relax and retire. And so a couple years ago, during the pandemic, I spent a lot of time watching House Hunters International. Then I started watching My Caribbean Life, and I started exploring around the world, like looking at different countries, looking at different places, and the Dominican Republic always appealed to me the most. Not only from a perspective of just beautiful climate, 82 average year round, but also crime was low. They don't really have a lot of natural disasters in Punta Cana, at least in the Punta Cana side of the Dominican Republic. So looking at crime, looking at all the different statistics, for me it was the most appealing. So in 2021 I came here, I spent 5 days here. My realtor picked me up at my resort and took me to the airport, and I signed a contract to build a home here in Punta Cana in 2021. Took them about 3 years to build it, get everything squared away and everything. And then the end of 2023 in December, my house was finished and I moved here and retired basically. And,
The rest is here, and that's about the time we met, actually.
yeah, that's about the time we met.
We
So
met.
now the toughest thing for me was finding a place that I wanted to live. And I traveled all around the US. I traveled to other countries, watching all the different House Hunters International and everything like that. This was just by far and away the place that just called to me the most.
Yeah, DR is very welcoming. The people are nice. It's voted over the last few years been voted the happiest place.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons, guys, I call them 98% is pretty much no. Pause. Look at them. Like you go on a dating or you go out here. For me, I might have some issue, but this guy, every girl's good. 98% of the women on this island's ready to move in with him. So that's one of the reasons why I call him 98%. But you said, hey, like you signed a contract, da da da. How was that transition, like buying a house from over there, number one, and number two, like once you actually moved here, how's that transition for you, for someone like yourself?
Well, the biggest challenge was I don't speak Spanish, and I live in a Spanish-speaking country, and that's probably the most complicated part. But I've made a lot of friends very quickly. I started dancing salsa.
We're gonna talk about that, guys.
I started, doing involving myself in different activities, meeting people, getting out, and as I've done that, I've had people that would go to the electric company with me and help me get my contract for my electricity, or help me, in different areas doing different things. So it was really easy to find a friend here that was willing to travel with me or go somewhere with me.
Nice. Well, it's VI. It's Easter weekend. I got someone very important is nearby, so at the end of the day, we just got a nice flyover. So that's one of the things. There's always important people here, but that's fantastic, right? Because you're active. Because there's some people that move here, they move here and then they're not in activity. They're not taking salsa classes. They're not doing these things, and they're like, man, it's fun, but they put themselves inside the box. And you out here, you're doing all these things. Speaking of salsa dancing, we talked about that. You're 8 months in, man. How is the 2 steps? How's that working for you? And being that most of the time I usually meet women here that's taking, but you're like, nope, I'm gonna become. Guys, by the way, show the tat, show the tat, man. He's full on Dominican. He's drinking. He's and his cup is Brugal. So those are the real Dominican. But either way, man, like what made you take on the salsa class? What was the purpose of that?
So the guy that cleans my pool at my house, he was like invited me to this social where his class goes, and he said, "Hey, why don't you come out with us Friday night? We all go to La Terraza and we dance socially salsa." And I went, and I was like blown away. They dance a Cuban style salsa, and it was amazing to me. And I was like, I got to do that.
Oh, nice.
But
nice.
you're right. You know, the thing is, whether you live in America or Canada or anywhere in the world, here in Punta Cana, if you're just going to lock yourself in the house and stay there, you could be anywhere. But I'm an outdoors guy. Like, I want to be on the road. I lived in Denver, Colorado, and I wanted to drive my Harley. But, you know, 8 months out of the year, it's snowing there.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't be outside. And I felt like for 8 months out of the year, I'm dealing with snow outside and I can't go anywhere. And then I went to Georgia and Florida, and I spent a lot of time in South Carolina. And I couldn't find the place that I wanted to live. I couldn't find the climate. I couldn't find like a place that I could be outside all the time. You know, whether it's doing sports or other activities, like I couldn't find that place. And when I came here, I found that place.
Nice.
This was that place that I could be outside. I could go do things. I could, like year round, be outside doing things.
Excellent. So with that being said, what's the difference living here and like Denver or Georgia or South Carolina, Florida? For me, I think Florida is very similar here beside the people, but what's some of the, differences for someone out there that lives in one of those states that's thinking about moving to DR?
Natural disasters, the biggest difference. My brother lives in Florida, and my brother was giving me a little bit of a hard time when I'm moving here because he's like, "Oh, you're gonna have hurricanes and all that
I
other
get that
stuff."
often.
Florida has more hurricanes than we have.
Yep.
And so since my brother started saying that to me, now every time a hurricane's heading to Florida, I was like, "Hey, Paul, watch out, man. There's another hurricane coming at you."
Yeah, I'm over here in DR, just a little
he's
rain.
kind of regretting all those kinds of things that he said about the hurricanes in Punta Cana. I did my research. Punta Cana, for whatever reason, is just not in the path of the hurricanes.
Yep.
It may go around the other side of the island and hit, Santo Domingo or Haiti.
It definitely
or
always hits
on the
Haiti.
right side of the island and hit Puerto Rico.
Yep,
but for whatever reason, Punta Cana, like, it's God's country, man, or something. Because
it's too many tourist people. They can't have it, so they got it away.
it's bad for the economy.
It's a shield around Punta Cana.
It seriously is. So, when I was doing my research, because I spent probably 2,000 hours researching Punta Cana
Wow.
and the Dominican Republic. And originally I was going to move to Santo Domingo because I thought I might still work. But I knocked it out. I made my money and I was able to fortunately retire. I have military disability and all those kinds of things that help. But I was able to make the money I needed to make to be able to comfortably move here and not have to work. So Punta Cana became a better choice for me because I didn't really need the city and the internet and the infrastructure that Santo Domingo offers, because here I'm retired.
Nice. Yeah, here you get to wear shorts every day. You can literally pick up and go to this part of the beach, do this. Where the city is like the beach, the closest one is Boca Chica, and it's not even compared to this. So I understand completely.
Yeah, I just bought a yacht from Boca Chica, and I moved it to La Romana, which is close to Sayona Island.
Yep.
So now I can jump on my yacht, and in 2 hours I can be at the most beautiful spot. Sayona Island is just absolutely breathtaking. And part of my whole plan was get my house, get my car, get everything settled, get solar energy, get all those things taken care of, and then get a yacht. When I was finished with that, I could work on that part. But that was all completing the entire project for me in my transition here.
The transition.
That was, it wasn't like I decided later. It was all part of the original plan.
Nice. Well, like you said, you put 2,000 hours into it, so you came in with the plan. That's fantastic. So for you guys that's out there, like different people. So you've seen some of my guests that say, hey, just book the flight, get to DR, figure it out when you get here. And then you have Mark, who's more like, hey, let me get all my planning, let me do all this. and find the right sitting. Speaking of that, Isa on Punta Cana, Santo Domingo, you've been around the country. What would you say your favorite part of the country is?
So far, it's Punta Cana. I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
that was, you
Easy.
know,
You heard how quick he answers? So I guess they're not even close.
well, I honestly haven't traveled to a lot of places yet.
Oh, okay.
To me, Santo Domingo is way too busy. It's traffic, things
Oh,
like that.
traffic.
I can't do it. And trying to even sleep because you have the cars going 24/7, the horns going 24/7. So even trying to sleep in a nice hotel in Santo Domingo is difficult because you got the horns and
Yeah.
car alarms and all that kind of stuff in a
Constantly.
very busy city. So to me, you know, I'm an exclusive area in Vista Cana. Vista Cana is, you know, they've got a lot of YouTube videos on that. I did my research. It's a double gated community. You got to go through 2 security gates to get
Like
to my
Cap
house.
Cana, yeah.
They've
So
got security guys on motorcycles riding around constantly. So I don't have people soliciting. I don't have people knocking on the door. I don't have to worry about any strays or people, you know, I don't have to worry about cars going by with blare horns and
yeah,
advertising and
loud
stuff like
music
that.
and all that.
You know, in Vista Cana, we have bars, restaurants, we have a new mall going in, a grocery store. It's a self-contained community.
Nice.
So that's the way they build things here. Cap Cana, Vista Cana, Casa de Campo,
Yeah,
they're
there's more.
self-contained communities. You
Exactly.
literally don't have to leave those communities. And that's Vista Cana is the kind of the newer Cap Cana, Casa de Campo neighborhood. And then you got to look at property values. My property has already doubled in value
Oh, yeah.
in 2 years.
That's fantastic. You bought at the right time. I'll tell you that much because there's people I try to help or try to guide like, yo, you should buy. Even a year ago, their property has already gone up
Yep.
20, 35%. Like, you should have did it. So you did it, and that's a great thing. But, man, you got the yacht, you got the house, you got all these things, you got everything settled. So, but how is it dating? Because you have everything, and I know in this country, women either really love a man and bends over backward for them, or they're going to be in and out of your life when they need you. They need you when they don't. They don't. So how is it dating for you?
Dating has been hard because everybody seems to be more concerned of what you can do for them rather than what they can do for you.
Of
And
course.
even when you go on the dating sites, these women list, I want a man who does this, I want a man who's 6 feet, I want a man who has his own house, he cooks, he cleans.
Guys, it's not just in the U.S. For all the men that thinks that it's only the U.S., I've tried to explain this to a lot of people. It's everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Women now have this thing because of the internet that a man must be 6 foot, a man must make so much money, a man must be, but they have no value. So it's not just the state. Don't go running from your problem. Find the right woman for you. But back to you. Go ahead, continue
Yeah, I mean,
dating for you.
exactly that. If you look at their dating profile and they have no comprehension of what they offer, what they bring. And it's because they don't bring anything
Nope.
except for
Everything else that every other woman
the
got.
sex.
Yeah, the sex.
They're bringing sex to the table, but they have all these prerequisites for the man, but and then the only thing they have to exchange for that is the sex, and it's to me it's got to be a little bit more than that.
Give me a story. Like, come on, like you've been here a couple years now. You got everything. Give me a story of like example, like just like thinking, all right, this woman's amazing.
Well,
this thing
they
is.
show up and they already have the expectation of take me to dinner, buy me things, take me shopping, you know, take me here, you know, help me go through college, put me through university. Like I've heard it all. Like and from different nationalities as well,
Of
not
course,
just Dominican
not-
girls,
exactly.
Russian girls, American girls, like Argentinians.
Once
like,
they move here, they adapt to the culture of like, okay, if this one can do it, so can I.
Yeah, and they bring this list of things they want, and I don't mean to be disrespectful because it's not every woman, but it's pretty much every woman I've met, and they get what they get from you, and then they ghost you, like you don't hear from them again, or they're busy, or something came up, or their dad's in the hospital, or
Oh, yeah,
something,
something.
and then they're gone.
And they're gone. Soon as you
Because
don't
they got
offer,
yeah.
you don't offer that.
As soon as
that
they realize you're not a checkbook, you're
Yeah.
not an ATM card, then all of a sudden things change a little bit because they come in with this expectation that you're printing money. Like you got a color printer and you're printing money, and we're going shopping, we're going to dinner every night, we're going to party every night. And so they come in with that expectation, and when they realize that, hey, I'm not that guy that's just going to do all those things with nothing in return. Like, I haven't even had sex with a girl yet, and she's already given me a list of things she wants me to buy her on Amazon. And it's like, really?
You
Like,
got Prime Puppy? Let me get some of these items.
yeah, a $300 bottle of perfume is like
Which
on our second date.
Which a crazy thing you said that $300 perfume, but I've not exact, but I've met women who apartments are 5,000 pesos for a whole month, and they live somewhere. Like, okay, you're doing your thing, you live alone. I respect that, but her expectation is, oh, you need to spend $300 when we go out to dinner. That's
Yeah.
more money. That's more money than you pay for your house. How does that make sense?
Yeah.
And for me, I don't really. I meet women. I try. I have my standard, but either way, that's what I try to tell some of them. For me personally, is like the more money you try to get me to spend, the less you get from me.
Yeah.
Because if you okay with just you truly care for me, if you offer to come to my house, cook dinner, we're gonna hang out, and that's great. That means you're saying I care enough about you. I want to cater to you.
Yeah.
But when it's like, no, I don't come there. I don't go to men's houses I don't know. Okay, I don't take girls to dinner that I don't know. That's my
Yeah.
thing, because for me, it's just the standard I have.
Yeah.
And for you, I call you 98% because, like I said, you just said it, dating apps, all these things. Every woman that's gonna see you, they're gonna check, and you got a boat, you got this, you got that. So it you're stereotype.
Yep.
And for me, it's similar, but it's on a different level.
Yeah.
And it is that some of the growing pains of that living in a culture in a country where you don't know.
Yep.
Because imagine if you were here 10 years ago, you wouldn't have that problem.
No.
10 years ago, a man would come here and meet a woman, and honestly, that woman would cater to them. I've heard the story, I've seen it, I've seen couples, like the woman caters, the one do so much, don't want them to spend money because she truly cares for that man. But now, because of social media, because of all these things, it's easier for them to say, oh, my cousin got this much from this guy. Oh, my cousin got this, my sister. So now it's not you that they're truly trying to obtain. They're trying to obtain that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And you got it. So that's one of the things.
Well, when I was in the U.S. before I came here, when I came here originally and bought the house, I was with my fiance, who is from Brazil, but she became American. So she said, I'll move there with you, but I need $500 a month allowance after I pay for everything. So she wanted me to pay for everything.
Damn.
But then she wanted $500 cash per month for herself. Now she has money. She has money in the bank. She wanted to keep her house.
Yep.
and rent it out.
Because she's 1 foot in and
She's
1
got a
foot out.
401k. She's got all these things, but then she wanted $500 a month cash out of for me to pay her an allowance.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, nah, I'm not going to give you an allowance. You come here, I'm paying for stuff. But just to give you cash for you to like put away in your bank account, like, so it didn't make any sense to me. So I just said no, and we broke up, and I came here by myself. So it's not just Dominican women.
It's all over.
Or Russian or American, or she's from Brazil. Like, it's the mentality
of
that
women nowadays.
The women are getting is, I don't know if it's the feminist mentality or just the opportunity mentality,
Well, I
where
feel like
they
a
want
little
to look,
bit of both.
they want to find a guy who just can offer them the most,
Gotcha.
And I heard a saying one time. It's like, she was never your girl; it was just your turn.
That's what I believe in. So let me ask you this. So speaking of someone that's watching this, like, again, if they come into DR, like, oh, my friend found love in DR, what would you tell someone that's like thinking I could come to DR and find love? Because it exists. I've had other guests that has found love. So what would you tell somebody that's just coming in thinking they can find love right away?
Man, just take your time. Just really take your time, because like I said, she's probably not your girl. It's just your turn. And I've had girls that, I had a girl that I was dating. I thought it was forever. She even discussed marriage with me. And then all of a sudden, just one day, ghosted. After buying her things and doing things and taking her to dinner and going places and taking her out on my yacht and doing all these things. All of a sudden, one day it was just like nothing.
Yeah.
And I didn't know why, but it was just like nothing after that. And so here I am thinking it's like a great relationship with a great girl, like who I really liked and who was telling me she loves me every time I talk to her. She's telling me I love you
Te
and
amo,
I
mi
love you
amor.
more and I love you so much and all these things. And then all of a sudden, just one day, like no explanation, just gone.
There's a word for that in Spanish and in Dominican Republic. I don't remember. Someone just was teaching me that. I'm gonna find the word. I'm gonna let y'all know. But it's a taino or something like that, where a woman will talk to you and in the middle of nowhere just ghost. That happened to me. I met this beautiful, oh my God, beautiful girl at the gym. I saw her. And the guy that works there, I was like, yo, who is that? He's like, oh, I know her. You want me to talk to her? I was like, no, yeah. But then I walked up to her myself because I was so attracted
Yeah.
to her. I walked up to her, I was like, yo, your color, like, you're beautiful. I would love to go out to dinner with you, blah, blah, blah. My friend already told her that.
Yeah.
So she was like, okay, he will know somebody working. So it was kind of the rite of passage.
Yeah.
I got her number. We text on Instagram for a little bit. I'm like, hey, we should go to this dinner. This place is new. She's like, oh, I already went. That's my profile picture. I'm like, okay, just like you're saying,
Yeah.
it's just your turn. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, da da da. And then she's like, but we can still go. I'll let you know when I'm available. Man, I never heard from her. I think I wrote her once after that. And I see her at the gym too. I still see her at the gym, but I'm not going to continue asking you out when I've already asked you out twice. That's it.
You know, they say love is blind, but you gotta keep your eyes open because there are telltale signs. When they start asking you about your money, when
Oh,
they start
God.
asking you about your investments, when they start asking you about, you know, are you a millionaire? Are you this? Do you have properties? Do you have this? Do you have this? You know, and then they start asking you all those things. That's a sign that that's like a bona fide gold digger. She's there for money, and then you'll have girls that are there for status. You know, hypergamy is you can offer them something, and what can you
Always.
offer them? See, a girl can't marry a guy who works at the grocery store, or
Nope.
she can't marry a guy that works at McDonald's. But a man can for love, right? Because he doesn't need her for her cooking skills at McDonald's. He doesn't need her for her money. What a man needs is peace. If a woman can offer a man peace, that's all she needs to offer him,
Yep.
just peace. And if she doesn't offer him peace, if she just wants to stress him out, she wants to put him through all those things, regardless of whether it's money or dinners or buying things on Amazon or whatever it is, be peaceful about it. But when you're coming in hot, like you're wanting all these things, and you got a list of stuff you want, and you've got all these things, you know, prerequisites of what a man must bring to the table, and you're not showing me anything but sex, it's a red flag. And guys need to be awake. Guys need to be aware of like what she's saying, because she's going to tell you why she's there.
Yeah.
But you just got to be listening.
But if a man don't have value for themselves, they don't really care. It's like,
No.
okay, she's pretty, and if she's prettier than any girl I could get back where I'm from.
Yep.
Imagine being from like Jefferson, Indiana. I don't know exact population, but I've been there. Like those type of guys, they come from that. They take two different flights, layover. They come here, they go crazy. So for them, it's like if they meet a young lady, it's like, oh great, she's into me. But like you said, she may be showing you she's into you for one way, but for them, they don't see that because,
love is
hey,
blind, man.
I can't get that back home, and this girl's giving me what I want, and I go home. I get told this often, like, oh, back home, if I took this girl out to dinner, it would cost me $500. It would. I'm like, first of all, why are you paying $500 for dinner?
Yeah.
But here it only cost me 150. I'm like, bro, that's still a lot of money. Like, I go to dinner. I order 3 appetizers. I told somebody that the other, like, thanks for that tip. I always go start 3 appetizers and a drink.
Yeah.
And then from there, there's no way she's hungry. I know I'm not hungry. I'm
Yeah.
full because that's dinner right there.
Yeah.
We can have more drinks,
Yeah.
but there's no way she's hungry. So that's how I've learned, because I've been in a situation where a girl ordered a $50 steak on our
Yep.
first date. It's like, wait, why did you do that? But
And then she's eating about a third of it,
a third.
and the rest of that shit's going home.
Oh, well, if she takes it home, that's even better because I've had it where they don't take it home. I was
They
out
just
with
leave it.
I was out with a group, this dude named Anthony and his buddy and these girls I met the night before. Like, let's go to breakfast. They showed up for breakfast at 2 in the afternoon. So that's how long that took. By the time we get there, each girl orders an appetizer and a full course meal. And they eat half of the appetizer and the dinner they barely ate. And it's like, you want boxes? No. But she lived somewhere in the barrio with her mom.
I took a girl to dinner one time, and because I don't speak Spanish, she ordered.
Oh, God.
And so she ordered, we had a nice meal, like both entrees, but it was cheap. Then we got ready to go, like I get the check, and then she says something to the waiter, and the waiter's like, okay. The waiter brings out 3 to-go boxes.
Wow.
So when she ordered dinner, she also ordered 3 to-go boxes, 3 dinners to go, and I'm paying the bill, and she's taking food home to, like, I don't know, her roommate or for later or whatever. So it was, 3 to-go boxes of food. And I asked her about it later, and she said, oh, that was for us. And I was like, I took you home. Like, what do you mean it was for us? So there's some downsides to not being able to speak the language.
Yeah.
But maybe you look at the bill when the bill comes and you ain't just paying it.
Yeah, I always check your bill in Dominican Republic because in Dominican Republic, a lot of people are okay with making the 10%. So automatically all checks come with 18% for the government, which is strange, and 10% comes for the staff. Well, the staff they're not accustomed to like the U.S. They're accustomed to just getting whatever they get. So they're going to, you order water and something else, they're going to ring up multiple things to bring up your check because that 10% needs to be higher. So always look at your check, especially if you order something and it's incorrect, they're never going to take it off the check unless you say something. So, but let me ask you this, and then I got a couple of things. What is something, beside obviously not the best dating experience, and you love it still here, but what is one thing you would say if you can change, you would change about the Dominican Republic?
I think people could be a little bit more courteous towards one another. Mm-hmm. You know, traffic is kill or be killed, man. Like, you gotta be, you know, and sometimes people that aren't from here, they'll come here to visit me and they'll be riding in the car with me and they'll be like, oh, calm down, you know, I'm scared. Like, but if you ain't a little bit aggressive when you're driving, you ain't going nowhere because you pull up to you're in a 2-lane roads. There's 2 lanes going north, 2 lanes going south.
There's 4 cars.
There's 4 lanes.
Yeah, 4 lanes.
Because Dominicans use the shoulders
as
and the roads.
lane. Yeah.
And they don't know red from green.
Nope.
So the cars that are coming they keep coming. And so those cars are still coming. They're running the red lights, and then you got 4 cars going into 2 lanes. So you know, it'd be nice if people were a little bit more courteous to one another. I've been driving down the road and people just stop in the road. They won't pull into a parking lot. They won't pull off the road. They'll just stop in the road. Somebody will get out of the car. Somebody will go check something in the trunk.
Talk and
they just sit in the road like right in front of you, and you're just like, you don't know. You know, if they stop, it's dangerous because you don't know if somebody's getting out of the car.
Yep.
And if you try to go around them. And so I wish that people would be a little bit more conscientious of other people and just show other people kindness and respect. Like, when I drove in the U.S., I always thought about that other car. My mom was driving it. And so I always thought, I need to be respectful, I need to be courteous and kind to that person, not follow too closely, not cut them off, not do all those things, because I wouldn't want somebody to do that to my mother. And so that's kind of the way I think. But when you come here, you can't think like that. It's you got to be, you know, NASCAR, Autobahn, like whatever you want to call
Johnson,
it.
Yeah,
you got to go.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I've said this before. There's rules to driving. Use your horn and make no eye contact so you can get through. So
the rules to driving for me is there are no rules. I mean, there's no cops on the highway.
No.
There's no radar on the highway. The only time I've ever seen radar is going to Santo Domingo.
Yeah, it's going.
There's like a motorcycle cop that'll be sitting there with radar. That's the only time I've
we
ever
passed
seen.
one. We saw one, and he told us slow down, and we slowed down, and we kept going.
Yeah, but that's
what they're gonna do.
There's only gonna be one.
Chases with the moto.
No, they ain't gonna. They're just telling everybody to slow down until they get a. But the other thing is, like, I've been pulled over here before, and they want money. The cops
Of
want money.
course.
You know, I was pulled over one time, and the cops were like, "Hey, we haven't had lunch yet. Can you buy us lunch?"
Yep.
And so I gave them 500 pesos, which was about $10 for 3 cops. You know, so there's a little bit of embezzlement and things like that
Of
going on,
course.
but it's not that bad.
No, not at all.
But yeah, I mean, there are no rules on the road. There's
Nope.
no fast lane, slow lane. There's no passing lane.
Nope.
There's no.
The semi's on the left
It's a
or the
free-for-all.
right. It's a free for all.
It's a total free for all.
So something he just said, guys, for people that's visiting Dominican Republic, wherever you're from, you actually can't get a ticket. They can give you a ticket, but you're not in their system. So if a cop try to scare you or do anything of that nature, it's not possible. They can give you a ticket, but you're not Dominican. You don't have a Dominican cellular or an ID, so you actually don't have to pay that ticket. They can scare you, but again, it's just knowledge. Don't go out there driving crazy and put yourself in harm's ways, but simply know that in the Dominican Republic, ticket means nothing for driving because you're not in their system. And even if they give you the ticket, you can accept it and go about your business because you're not in the system.
You could probably speak better to this, but I've heard that if you get caught drinking and driving, you need to give them 500 pesos or something like that. So I've heard that too, but I haven't experienced that.
That is actually in Santo Domingo, they are starting to do DUI checkpoint. Not often, but they've done it 3 times in the last few months because they're trying to, implement things to keep safer driving. But I think they got away with it quick because there's too many politicians and people higher ups that does drink and drive. I'm sure that's the case, but I've been in the car with drinking in my hand all the time, and I'm just like, salud, or offer them a beer. So, man, with this, look at the view right now. Again, guys, I appreciate you guys. This is Life in DR. My man, Mark, thank you so much for coming in, my brother. Pick your chick.
Salud, pick your chick.
And we are in Punta Cana. Look at the view. I appreciate you guys. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification. Mark, you're a single man. Ladies, how would if a lady see, how would they get in contact? You have any social media outlet you want to put out there?
Just a reply to your.
Here you go. Reply to me. Had a comment there. Who's
we're
that
friends,
guy?
so.
Yes, we are, and we're true friends. We talk a lot about a lot of stuff on these messages. I was laughing at him for the last 2 days. We'll leave that for the next episode.
But what about your passport?
Oh no, that would have been worse. Yeah, my passport got jacked, and this man came in clutch because I live in Santo Domingo, as you all know, and we all know about their scammers. So please be careful. I trust a friend of a friend who's a lawyer, and long story short, they took about $800 of mine and then wouldn't give my passport. Luckily, Mark was here. I called him. He went. Didn't work out. The next time I called him, he went. Sent me some pictures. I sent it to the guy, and within like 1 day, I got my passport back. So shout out cheers to that, brother.
yeah.
Cheers.
That was a good day.
That was a fantastic day for me, especially when I got it in my hand 2 days later. That was even better. So be careful about that. And again, hit that subscribe. Single Mark over here. The man's got everything. Just need to find a good Latin women in the Dominican Republic. So if you see this, you got a good sister that's not a choppy or gold digger. This man's single. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Hit that subscribe button. I love you guys. I am, because we are.